musician Tailor's Twin and Chevy.
Greetings, everyone, and welcome back to the Tailor's Talk Podcast, live here at Grand Entertainment Studio, home of Musician Tailor, LLC. I'm your co-host, Chevy Revis, along with my co-host and co-founder, Darrell Twin Smith. Today's special guest is a multifaceted creative artist, engineer, producer, entrepreneur, and businessman with years of experience in the music industry. He's the owner and operator of Skin and Bone Project Studio, where he has hosted hundreds of guests on his show podcast called The Skinny. Please welcome to the show, our brother, Patrick Stein.
What's up? How y'all doing, man?
What's up, man? Good
Your
to
word.
see you.
I need to wait for you. You know, the camera is it 1, 2, 3, is it 3, 2, 1? I'm up.
Oh, you up, man?
Hey, yeah. Listen, guys, I'm glad to be here, man. Great setup. It's crazy. I thought my shit was dope. Super impressed at just the level of professionalism. If you guys haven't been on the show, please come. It's an experience. I've been here 30 minutes and I'm still looking around for shit to steal. There's so much shit in here. But I got Chevy and I got Twin. These motherfuckers trying to run a train on me. I don't do that, though. I don't do that.
Ladies and gentlemen, Patrick Stein.
I'm just letting you know.
That's Stein Wild, y'all.
Hey, man,
y'all
listen.
this
Listen,
finna be a show.
I wasn't lying. Like, you got some really, the quality and the attention to detail that's in this room. I love that. Yeah, man, this shit is dope.
Yeah, man, it's a pleasure to have you on, man. Now you good, brother?
This stuff is dope.
The PG version.
Yeah, man. When you want to take my wings off, you can take the wings off a bird.
Nah, man, we just...
Y'all, this old Stein, y'all. So Stein, he been entertained, y'all. He should have on that resume comedian.
Nah, man.
I should have added that on there too. Yeah, most definitely. Cause I was watching.
Family,
I was watching the episode on the way over here. I said, "Boy, he is wild."
Yeah.
Love the show though, man.
I appreciate it.
Man, yeah, it's a pleasure to have you on the show, brother.
For sure.
Most
I'm
definitely,
actually honored to be here, man.
You know, the one I got to shout out somebody real fast.
Go ahead.
Because if it wasn't for her, I would have never met you. And that's Maddie B. You know, Maddie B, she our program manager. She's a program manager, ain't it? What we call you, Maddie?
Well, we demoted her. So she's
multifaceted.
she's everything.
Yeah,
She's everything.
If it wasn't for her,
Swiss Army
a
knife.
lot of stuff going
like
on
that.
the show won't be happening. So, you know, we definitely appreciate Maddie.
Maddie B. Shout out to Maddie B. And if you don't know, Maddie B actually made this for me. And I actually wear it regularly, not when I'm just in front of the camera. Mastering Belief.
Yes.
There you go.
Right?
See, look,
Mastering
Belief.
everybody
right
got
here,
it on
man.
now.
Shout out to Maddie B. Maddie, we appreciate you. And we're going to do it like that.
And most definitely, y'all, if y'all haven't been on Maddie's Monday, y'all need to check it
Maddie
out.
Mondays, yep.
On YouTube.
Right, yeah.
Every Monday live at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Maddie Monday.
Maddie's,
Well, we do music
Maddie
in different
do
ways.
everything. So, you know, we appreciate you, Maddie, and I know you know that.
Yeah, for sure.
Show that blushing.
And she's done a lot.
Cheeks hurting right now.
She's
She
done a
been
lot for
smiling.
me at the Skinny, too. Like,
Yeah.
y'all have built me out, too, but Maddie will come through and just do all the video piece.
Yeah.
Because you need a team to do what you guys are doing. And you've done a lot of just making sure that you have everything that you need, but you still need, because you guys are the host.
Yeah.
So,
She's doing her thing.
for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, you know, we gonna get on you now.
Okay.
So
Yes,
hey,
sir.
Well, see, I just said I don't do trains.
Nah,
I'm
me
going to
either.
get on, fix the
Nah,
wording.
nah,
Fix your verbiage. I'm
Pause,
going to get
man.
on you.
Pause.
nah,
Come on,
hey,
twin.
nah, it
On you.
ain't nothing that happening over
Yeah.
here.
Pause.
So,
No diddy.
so as we know you, but some things that myself I didn't know. Growing up around a military installation, Fayetteville, North Carolina.
That's right.
Fort Bragg, home of the 82nd.
82nd Airborne. 82nd Airborne week
okay.
right now going on.
Okay.
Yep.
So how was that?
Growing up in where? Fayetteville?
Yeah.
Trash.
Show my
Absolute
tattoo
garbage.
today.
Garbage. Come
on,
All I
man.
did, I'm telling you, yeah, he asked me.
I know.
I was the one growing up.
I
Garbage.
know, man.
All I did was shoplift and steal bikes. Fuck that. That's what I was doing. Hey, listen, bro, we were poor though. You asked me the question.
No, you good,
We
bro.
were poor. We lived in Fayetteville, North Carolina. I lived on Campbell Terrace, 606 Campbell Terrace in the hood.
definitely
There was
know that
another
shit.
projects a little further up the street. We used to get together and fight with them, right? Like we take 6 or 7 guys up there and we fight these niggas. But I didn't like that shit. Like I left at 14. I couldn't wait to get up out of there. But I wasn't lying, man. We were poor, so all I had to do was we were still everywhere I go. I was either stealing or we would walk in white people's garages, them nice houses. When we had to walk home from school, they had a garage, or we go steal the bikes and shit. So that was fun for us. And I used to go to the candy store, steal all kind of M&Ms and shit, and I would sell them in school. That's what it. Bro, you asked me. That's
No,
what it was.
bro, look, we know you gonna be transparent,
Shit.
so
That's why they call it Fed Non. Fed Non too sick.
Garbage. I was born there, but I'm good.
So once you left Fayetteville, where did you go after leaving Fayetteville?
Well, here's the crazy thing. So my mother, I don't know if y'all know this. My mother left when I was born. She left me with my grandmother, and I always thought that was odd. Like she never tried to contact me or come home for Christmas and none of that shit. So I was getting in trouble so much from stealing, and they would always detain me. My grandmother got tired of coming to the police station, right? So one day she just had enough. She said, "You're gonna stay with your mom." So they gave me a bus ticket, and she sent me to live with my mom, who I didn't really know. I didn't have a relationship with her. So she must have reached out to us. My mother's name was Patricia Ann Williams, but everybody called her Kissy. So she said, "I can't do this anymore. You got to get your son." So that's when I ended up in Chicago. And shit was rough, man. I don't mean the city. The city was rough, but living with my mom, who don't really know me, that shit was crazy. Like, I didn't like her at all, bro.
Dang. So what part of Chicago?
Well, we lived on Cicero and whatever. I think it was the West Side.
Okay.
Because when I ran away from her ass, because she was crazy, after she got me in school, I started going to school on the North Side. So I lived on Sheridan and Irving Park. Shout out to Chris Underwood, DJ Crash, if you don't know who that is. My boy Stein, who I used to rap with. But I ended up moving in with Chris, DJ Crash, because I was in school with him. People said we looked alike. And I don't know that my mother ever tried to come find me, bro. Like, for real. Maybe she did. But when I lived in the house with her, when my grandmother sent me to live with her, she was married to this dude, older dude. He wasn't even attractive, so I didn't understand that shit. But he didn't like me.
Okay.
Mind you, I'm 14 and a half, 15. He didn't want no more kids. So there was friction between them two, and which led to the friction between me. My mother was never a loving person. She never said, "I love you," or none of that shit. Neither did my grandmother. But me and her got into a heated altercation, and because she didn't know me, it was like a stranger talking to me. So I cussed her ass out, man. And, she said, "You can't stay here." Good. I'm out this motherfucker. So I left, got on the bus from the West Side, went all the way to the North Side, talked to Chris, and Chris was like, "Man, you can stay here." So I ended up staying with him for 3 years. And we both quit school in the 9th grade. I was in gifted classes, so I really was in the 10th grade. He started studying the Quran. This nigga was just so into it, he started speaking Arabic. Like, he understood the shit. Way too much for me. But that's how I ended up in Chicago.
Okay.
Wow.
So then when you, as a teenager, we know you end up in California. So how did you get to Cali? So let me ask this here.
That's the story.
As you were saying, you was an artist as well. So where in Chicago, that's where you start homing your skills as an artist?
Yeah, because, in Chicago, it was one of those cities that always competed with New York. And through Chris, DJ Crash, I met a lot of people because he was a popular DJ. I ended up meeting my boy Stein, who used to work with a producer from New York named Peely. Rest his soul, Peely, he's dead right now. But I used to kind of get with Stein and I learned how to rap a little bit. And we had a group called the TCP, the Crowd Pleasers. And that's where I started honing it. Really thinking about when you're on the train riding home, thinking about lyrics to beats that Peely made. So that's where that started.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then so once you said, okay, yeah, I'm good at this.
I didn't say I was good, nigga. I said I started. I was all right. Shit.
So
shit.
What time frame with this?
I was about 16, 17. Because remember, I got there when I was like 14, 15.
I'm talking about like year wise, like
Oh,
who was kind of out during that time in Chicago?
84, 85.
Okay.
Because I ended up in LA. So 84 and 85 was the tail end of me living in Chicago.
Okay. I was just trying to see what like,
who was
artist
hot?
was
Most
hot.
of the people in New York
Like,
was hot.
that's
Like
what
nobody really was in
right.
Chicago that was dope.
Yeah. I mean, Twister was tongue twister back then, but
right.
that's
and
way
he was
before.
dope, but that was he came out after. I think he just changed the game.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out who was in that pocket in Chicago.
Mostly New York niggas. Really.
Yeah.
And so then you say, hey, man, I'm finna go to Cali. So what made you want to go to Cali?
Nigga, I ain't say I wanted to go to Cali. So I was living with Chris, right? I lived there for 3 years. We quit school. Like his mother, all she did was smoke weed every day. So she didn't care what we were doing. And because he was a DJ and a barber, he used to cut hair and he was super dope. It was almost like we had our own little business. I didn't really contribute to that. So I ended up in LA, San Diego first. It got to a point where I couldn't stay with Chris no more. You know, I'm 17 years old. I quit school. So I found out where I could take a GED. Went and took the GED test, passed, and I didn't have a place to live. So after I moved out with Chris, I moved in with P. Lee, Parker Lee Williams. And that lasted, bro. It didn't last long because his mother was white, his dad was black, and his mom had another boyfriend, right? His dad wasn't in his life. He didn't like me either. Like, I don't think Carl liked anybody. And I ended up a lot of nights sleeping on his back deck. You know, Chicago, everything's short. And I was sleeping like this, and it was, you know, rats and all that shit out there. So for 3 days, I slept on that shit. Like, get up during the day, I would go to these little bullshit hotels and restaurants, wash up and shit like that. But after that happened, I was like, I got to do something. So I went down to the recruiting station. And I was trying to figure out what branch I wanted to do. But the Navy made everything seem like it was awesome, right? Because I thought I wanted to be a Navy officer or a SEAL. So the recruiters be kind of on some bullshit, though. Like, he was like, well, we're going to bring you in as a sonar tech. Then when I got in, I took the ASVAB. I thought I scored pretty high, you know what I'm saying? But maybe I didn't because they were trying to make me a cook.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so a mess specialist. That's what they call it. That's my MOS. So I said, fuck it, I took it because I didn't have any place to live. So I went to basic training in RTC, NTC. Lieutenant Regan's, if you there, you was fine then. I would have tore your ass up. Oh, shit. Lieutenant Regan's, black girl, black woman, fine than a motherfucker too. So I went to... Can I get it?
No, you good, man.
So it was RTC, NTC. I know y'all know those.
Yeah.
I was stationed in San Diego, California, right? I was in boot camp. But I actually liked that shit. Like, I was so good in the military. In boot camp, I became the third on the line. So I was a watch bill petty officer, and I was third on the line. So I was in the front when we did pass and review. I was sharp. You know, my shit was on point.
Okay.
I was nice. But what ended up happening was, and I know y'all can understand this, when you're at boot camp, people from all around the world could be in your company. We called it in our company. And a lot of white boys, man, they didn't know how to fold their shit, dress right dress. They were getting their chits pulled. They used to call them chits. Getting their chits pulled because their button was open and their brass wasn't. You get some niggas that come from LA, Chicago, and all these big cities. You got these rural-ass white boys who really ain't never seen black people not doing what they're supposed to do. We would whoop their ass. You heard of blanket parties, right?
Yeah.
We would. Now I was a watch bill petty officer, so I knew when to tell my boys to get them. We would blanket party the shit out them. Because think about this for a minute. Y'all in the military, I'm responsible for you. You're responsible for him. Because they teach that, they ingrain that. After you get in trouble so much, we had to go to marching parties. You think it's not an actual party, it's fucking PT all day. After we did a couple of those, and then they had this thing called short tour, where you had a square. And you had to stand on the square with your rifle and do a whale tail. You know what a whale tail is? So you got the butt of the rifle and the what you call it?
Okay.
We had to hold the end of the rifle and the butt of the rifle was there. Until if you let that shit go down, they'll push it up. And if you do that shit twice, they make you drop down and do push-ups. So everything you did it with the rifle. Long story short, bro, they had another recruit come in, right? Because the white boys were telling on us. We was whooping their ass. So they had another recruit come in incognito. he became cool with us because we was cool. You know, we niggas in there, we cool. Everybody fucking messing with us. So I didn't know he was a mole.
Like
So
CID.
yeah, so when I was on watch, I was letting them niggas tear their ass up. And then when somebody else was on watch, we waited till they left and then we blanket party these motherfuckers. So, because we got tired of doing all those short tours, bro told on us. Them motherfuckers snatched us out of there one by one. OGU, outgoing unit. Put us in the outgoing unit. So we in there. The crazy shit about that is they kicking you out, but people in there crying and shit. Like, it bothered me because I had no place to live when they kicked me out, but they put us in OGU. A couple of people killed themselves in there. It was just, hung, this white boy hung himself. But in the OGU, you stay there for an extended period of time. Let me back up. Before I got in trouble, I wanted to be a SEAL. But I didn't realize the amount of work it was. Because I remember one day they had us in boot camp, and they put you on this high diving board. And what they did was they would push you off with your dungarees on. You're supposed to get in the water, take your dungarees off, and it floats up.
Yeah, make it a floating device.
Drown proofing.
Right. So I wasn't scared of water, but we had a nigga, big, swole, black dude. He was crying on the diving board. They said, when you get in this water, they got the SEALs, actual SEALs had these big ass poles. Don't grab this. You know, they pushed his big ass in there, twin. He fell in that water. He sounded like a little girl. They giving him the pole because everybody else all in the water trying to fix our dungarees. He grabbed the pole. They let the pole go. He damn near died. So, but I wanted to share that with you because the military in boot camp, it's a brain game. So they put us in the outgoing unit. And every day we had to go talk to one of the officers and explain why we shouldn't be kicked out. We got around to Lieutenant Reagan. Why? Shit. And the motherfucker flirted with me a little bit too. You know, you ain't got no hair on your face. And I used to take a cheap razor and give myself a little line so my shit was crispy. And man, Lieutenant Reagan, I don't know who banging you out, girl, but shit. And so when we all got processed out, that's how I ended up in LA. They processed us out and they give you what you came in there with, so which was a t-shirt. I had a navy t-shirt and some pants. And they called you a gee-dunk bag where it's just a toothbrush, you know, basic facial shit. So they gave us that and they gave me $469 and a bus ticket back to Chicago. Well, I had no place to live in Chicago, right? So I said, fuck that. The guy I was in the outgoing unit with, one of them was from LA. He was like, bro, you ain't got a trip. You can just come stay with me in LA. I said, well, I ain't got shit to wear. He said, man, they just wear khakis and t-shirts. I'm like, shit, let's get it. He got kicked out before me. I mean, he got processed out before me. So back in the day, I don't know if y'all know this, but the old phone booth phones, you could get a number where you didn't have to put money in it. You
that 800 number. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
You punch a code in, it'll let you make the call.
Allegedly.
Well, mine worked because they'll expire on your ass.
Government don't never forget, so I'm saying allegedly.
Yeah. So allegedly, yeah. So what ended up happening was he got processed out before me. So the day I got processed out, they gave me my shit. They gave me a DD-214. You know what that is?
Yeah.
Yes.
I got that.
Got one too.
Yep, a DD-214. They gave me, because I was entry-level separation, I didn't make it into the military. They gave me an entry-level separation notice. So I caught the bus. I bought a ticket from San Diego to Los Angeles because that's where he told me to go. I get there. I'm wearing his ass out, calling his phone number. Now, mind you, I'm at the Greyhound bus station. Wearing his ass, he never answered the phone. So I ended up, back in the day, guys, this is how old I am. They had these seats at the bus station where you sit in it and it's a black and white TV connected to the seat. I watched TV, put as many coins in there as I could. This shit went on for 3 days. So the bus, I stayed in that motherfucker for 3 days. She kept calling, he wouldn't answer the phone. Y'all didn't know all this shit about me, did you?
No,
so
that's good. That's good.
The bus superintendent came around. He said, hey, my man, you can't stay here anymore. Because he knew what I was doing. I was, So I got kicked out of the fucking bus station. Buddy never answered the phone. So I ended up walking around, and there was a place called the Midnight Mission where you go and they'll give you 1 meal a day. But you couldn't stay there in the daytime. You could stay there at night. So I ended up going there, but they were full to capacity. So I ended up sleeping outside for a week on the street, 7th and Fowler, for a week. I slept outside, and I would get food out of the trash can. So you know, the unopened food. So they would throw food in the trash can, like old stale donuts, because it was next to a convenience store. And so when the guys came around to fill the store up, they would just throw the old used stuff away, out of date stuff. So I would eat that. I ended up meeting this gay dude. True story. His name was Dave. I think Dave was trying to fuck me for real. but I met Dave, and Dave said, "Hey man, there's a place called the Weingart." Can I finish?
Yeah.
There's a place called the Weingart Hotel. So it was a big ass hotel. You could stay there for 3 months, 90 days, but you had to have a job because they would take 75% of your earnings and put it up for you. So I had enough money, the $469 that I got, I had enough money to get a room in a hotel, not the Weingart, in a hotel that Dave stayed in, right? I didn't know Dave snorted cocaine and was gay at first. So I ended up staying in this raggedy ass hotel. It had a bed in there, bro. It was like a twin bed. It was matted and had all these little beads and knots on it. I stayed there for a week till my money ran low. But Dave would always come to my room. He I know he was gay, but he still kind of pulled my coattails on some shit. He's the one that told me about the Weingart. So I ended up that night, I said, man, I got to find a job. We were sitting on the steps. I said, Dave, I ain't got nowhere to go, man, and I need to find a motherfucking job. So the very next day, now mind you, I had the same white T-shirt on. I was washing in the sink with some soap I stole, actually, from the White Hand Pantry in Chicago. So I was washing my shit in the sink every day. The pants is just what it was. Pants were on everything I love, bro. I walked around. See, I was in one part of L.A. I didn't realize, like, 2 streets over, it was nice. So I walked around. I went to Clifton's Cafe. This is real shit. That's how I remember it so vividly. Mrs. Phil Cookies. I don't know if y'all ever heard of that.
Yeah, I know Miss Phil.
Okay, so Clifton's Cafe, Mrs. Phil Cookies, and Foot Locker. So every day I went to these 3 accounts. Every day. And I said, hey, man, you know, I'm ambitious. I can get in here. I can do a good job. You know, just selling myself. I got hired a week later at Mrs. Phil Cookies. The very next day, I would just walk the Foot Locker just casually. The manager comes outside. He said, come here. He said, you have been in here every day. You're professional. You got a good attitude. I don't have any positions for you here, but my friend, who's also a manager in Carson, California, you ever heard of that?
Yeah.
He has a store, and I think you'd be a good fit. So I was going through orientation at Mrs. Fields. But when I walked over to Foot Locker and he told me that, I took the Foot Locker job. So I quit immediately that day. And I didn't know 2 streets up buses you could get on the RTD, the Rough, Tough, and Dangerous. You take the RTD and it went straight to Carson Mall. How crazy is that? 2 blocks away from the Weingart, I could walk up there, catch the bus. It was an hour, right there, all the way in front of Carson Mall. Ended up going to Foot Locker, #1 salesperson in the company.
Come on now.
#1 salesperson in the company. The manager was like, his name is Tony Gee. He would always come out there and do this. Get on the lease line. Get on the lease line. You know what the lease line is? The threshold. So if you walked in the store and I didn't greet you, that's a problem.
Gotcha.
Kids nowadays, you walk in the store, they on
looking
their
at you
phone.
like,
They looking at you like,
what the fuck?
what you doing?
Like you done walked in their house.
Yeah, so that's how I ended up in L.A. It's a whole lot more to that story. All kind of shit happened to me, bro. Like, I've woken with gunpoint twice. I'm fucking with this woman. I met her at Foot Locker. Had a baby with this Hoover Crip. Says she wasn't fucking with him no more, but they still had to interact because of the baby. She ended up picking me up because I didn't have a car. She ended up picking me up from Foot Locker that night. And we were driving down 110. And the lights kept flashing. The lights kept flashing. She looked back. She said, is that Norman? That's the nigga name. I said, who? She said, Norman. This nigga was on a white truck following us. So she sped up. This nigga sped up. She got in this lane. This nigga got in this lane. We finally get to our destination. This nigga jumps out the car and pulls a gun on her. Right? And I didn't say shit. This nigga was a Hoover Crip. I ain't say, bitch, take this bullet. Because I don't know this nigga. So they had words and shit. She got out the car. They tripping and shit. We get back in the car. I said, you can take me back to the hotel because I was still staying at the Weingart at the time. So she take me all the way back up to 110. But the next time I saw her, about a week later, and felt like she came into Foot Locker, I was the assistant manager. Well, I had moved up to assistant manager. She came into Foot Locker, and I said, damn, her ass is still fat. It was fatter than well. Couldn't help myself. I hollered at her again. And she said, me and Norman, he only come through, to take care of the baby and when we share off days. My dumb ass went straight to her crib with her. That night I had no car, so she picked me up from Foot Locker, took me straight to her crib. I don't know whether, okay, so, you know how you first go in a woman and it feel good and tight?
Oh, Lord.
That shit went from this to this. I'm in that bitch swimming. I couldn't feel shit. I thought, I was like, that motherfucker was too big. So I asked her, I said, how do you enjoy this? I can't feel it. She said, well, you want to hit it from the back. It's supposed to be tighter. So
Stein Unchained.
I hit her ass from the back.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Hey,
Stein.
I hit her ass from the back, and it didn't really change anything. Shit was still swallowing me up. So we ended up going to sleep. And true story, man, I'm knocked the fuck out. And I felt something do this. I kind of got myself together, and I looked up, nigga had a pistol in my face. I was like, oh, shit.
He hit you in the head with a pistol.
Yeah, I said, he said, get your motherfucking ass outside. I'm butt naked. I get outside, I run and get in her car. They going at it in the room, going at it. This nigga runs out of the house. I roll the window up. He hitting on the window with the gun, and I'm scared of the motherfucker. Like, this nigga's crazy. He finna kill me and shit. So she come out the house. She said, you can't tell me who the fucking is, that, and other. I'm like, don't say that shit. Don't say that shit. The pussy was too big for me anyway. Don't say that shit. I ain't gonna fuck with you no more. And he didn't kill me, right? Obviously, I'm here. And they had their words or whatever. But after that, bro, I didn't fuck with her at all. But the next day at work, I'm shook now. Because I'm like, this nigga, he know where I work, But after that, man, it's a lot. I got a lot to tell you. I'm not going to, this show is going to be too long. So I'm done. It's a lot of shit.
Nah, that's, man, I had no clue, man.
Yeah.
I thought you was from Georgia.
Nah, hell nah. I love Georgia.
And I thought you were from Cali. Honestly, I did.
Yeah. Long
That's
Beach, where I live
crazy.
in Long Beach.
So we know you because of music.
Yeah.
So when did you become the engineer, I know you was an artist for a minute, the producer, engineer, the things that we know you of. When did all that take place?
It was kind of a culmination. So when I left Foot Locker, it's always in us, right? Mm-hmm. I used to rap. I flew my cousin out. He started living with me. He rapped.
Hold on. What was your rap name?
Rick Rock.
Rick Rock.
Yeah. And then it was changed from Rick Rock to Doer Funkenstein. You know who George Clinton is?
Yeah.
Right? Dr. Funkenstein.
Doer.
Doer. D-O-E-R.
Oh, okay.
Doer Funkenstein.
I thought you was a play on word.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
I had a girl group, they used to be like, Doer Funkenstein, come take me out tonight. Real shit. So I was Doer Funkenstein. And then I bought this little Elise's drum. You ever seen the Elise's drum machine? So it was a gray one. It was a drum machine and a sequencer together. Started making beats and shit. Me and my cousin working. And I ended up getting a job at Nordstrom in Hawthorne Mall, South Bay Galleria. And I met a guy who had a kids group. And we used to work together. He sold shoes, I sold shoes. That's another whole, so we can talk about selling shoes at Nordstrom, boy. Woo.
Yeah.
Woo. But what got me into music was I started really investing in them. And he would pay me to do beats for him. And I was like, I'm good at this shit. And then I started meeting other people, word of mouth. And that's kind of where the music piece started. And then I used to rap, and it was a group, I called the group FIST, Foundation of Internal Strength. It was very pro-black, very conscious. We didn't curse, none of that shit.
Y'all didn't curse?
Mm-mm.
What happened?
But after losing all those, you go to these talent shows. After losing all those talent shows, we had to switch it up. We were losing to women like Darla Loke. That's where her name comes from here. That's when the MPC 60 first came out.
Okay.
So them drums were hitting way harder than that little Alicia shit.
Yeah.
So she was winning every time we went to Carlos and Charlie's, which was a place where we would all go with the radio personnel be there. It would be real radio people looking for talent. We kept losing to her, man. So her and a couple other people. So we started cussing and shit and all that shit. But, boy, let me get back to Nordstrom. Listen, bro. I sold lady shoes at the South Bay Galleria. And when I tell you, I was so smooth with the shit, Chevy, I would keep peppermint oil in my jacket pocket because some of them women's feet stink like a motherfucker. So they would come in trying the shoes on. I would massage their feet with the peppermint oil. Bro, over with. Over with.
So you was the opposite of Al Bundy. You wasn't on no Al Bundy.
Nah, hell no. I was selling so many shoes, but we used to have to wear suits. You go to Nordstrom now, these niggas got on jeans and t-shirts. We actually had to wear suits, tie. We had to be suited and booted. I ran through so many women at Nordstrom. It
Was they
ridiculous.
singers?
No.
the singers
Oh,
at?
you know my music? No, they was just women with pretty
Money-
feet, stinking
money-
feet, you
money.
name it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And I used-
what year was this called? Nordstrom is still kind of expensive.
86, 87, because I didn't come
Yeah.
to 86 to 93, because
Oh,
I didn't come here to
yeah,
94. So, but
yeah.
check this shit out, though. I was fucking the cashier, who now I had 3 kids with her, but back then,
Oh, okay.
yeah,
That was-
Randy. So I
okay.
ended up fucking my cashier, and her friend, my homeboy, was fucking her. So what I used to do, Nordstrom, y'all can't do shit now. We would steal all the shoes. Like Cole Haan made a
Allegedly.
Allegedly. Cole Haan, if y'all don't know,
Yeah.
a shoe person knows, they
Yes.
made a very, very soft leather shoe called
Yes.
the Cole Haan Dunbar. They
Yeah.
were very flat, very comfortable. I would take two sets of them and put them in my bag, and I had the jacket, and I was cool with security. You know how you meet people and you just be real cool?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
they never checked me.
Yeah.
Big, tall security lady was cool. I think she wanted to fuck me too. But she never checked me. So what we
Right.
would do is on the bottom of the shoe, we write, it's called a shank. You write your set, what store it was, it's coded. You write what store it was, what the item number of the shoe is, your salesperson's number, and the date. It was all one long. So we knew, but the customer don't know. I would take all the shoes back and make sure, I would tell people to go take the shoes back and make sure they went to Brandy. Brandy knew what it was, because back then, as long as the shank was on the shoe, that's like a receipt. So she would take all the shoes back, and we would make all the money. So I was making like $600 a night stealing shoes. And then it would take the next day to get the money, killing them, bro. So that's how I ended up buying a Kawhi keyboard.
Okay.
I ended up buying other music shit, just off shoplifting, allegedly.
Allegedly.
From Nordstrom. But go ahead, man. I'm sorry. I know I ran with that.
So, old girl, she had that MPC 60. So,
Darla Loke's producer did.
so he was killing y'all
Killing
on the
us.
production.
Well, the drums hit harder. You know
Yeah,
that. You're a producer. You got a Lisa's drum machine. Those are stock sounds.
Yeah.
Don't really hit, you know, but his shit was thumping, you know, so the music sounded better. We felt like we were a better group because we were all really coordinated. I bought these jackets for everybody. Carl Canal, remember Carl Canal?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Cross Colors, remember Cross
Yeah.
Colors?
Yes, still
I
got
bought
it.
everybody Cross Colors with all the money I was stealing from Nordstrom. So I bought everybody all this cross color. Okay, allegedly. So I bought everybody cross color outfits and shit, man. And if I find that picture, and y'all can post it, I'm gonna send you the picture of all the shit. I'm leaning this way, and my cousin leaning this way. We got all this dope cross color shit on. So I thought that was enough, but nah, they wanted the music to sound better.
So with that, keep coming back, y'all keep losing, and you getting new music equipment.
Yeah.
When did that time came when you said, okay, I know what I'm doing is good. I just got to step it up because of the equipment I got, and then you finally got that one hit, that one production that took off.
You know what that was, man? It wasn't even a full song. There's a drink called St. Ides. I don't know if y'all ever heard of that.
Yeah, you know.
On the radio, they put a contest out, like top 3. If you can submit your music.
Right.
Back then, we were recording on cassette tape, so we had a four-track Fostex cassette tape. You know I ain't lying. I know the name of the shit. So we did a commercial with this foot pedal I stole. It was a guitar foot pedal that had
You
delay
stay
on it.
stealing.
Oh man, I love you. Used to love this.
Allegedly, we're gonna pat his ass down for you.
I'm in this motherfucker. Look at that. Shit. Shit. You got some nice shit in here.
We know you stay at. You
Yeah.
got a nice studio too.
Yeah, but the door gonna be locked. But anyway,
You don't be locking that door.
we won. Yeah, you're right. We won 3rd place. That's when I felt like, okay, I'm doing something right. We won 3rd place. They sent us all this gear and all this other shit. So that's when I went from Doer Funkenstein to Stein. Because everybody used to be like, man, you a genius with this shit. Like, the shit you doing. And even though I didn't have the stuff like this, the resources, I always had a little bit of a professional titch to it.
So I see, look, I just learned something. Cause I always like, how you get Stein? I know your government, but I'm like,
Yeah.
how did Stein? Where you get it from now? As you
Right.
said, do a Funkenstein,
It started with that. Because
And
I used to
then-
love George Clinton.
and then you just said, I'm gonna just be Stein. That's
Yeah,
dope.
they
man.
cut it short. People that knew me was like, nigga, Stein,
Yeah.
and it stuck.
That's
because-
black people for you. They'll
Yeah,
change the
niggas
name.
ain't gonna say Doer Funkenstein.
Nah.
Like do her Funkenstein,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it sound like
It's-
do a Funkenstein.
Doer because I was a doer. Like
Right,
people
yeah.
talk about shit, but I was the one that was actually doing everything.
Yeah.
You know, you do everything. So that's where the shit came from.
Okay, that's dope, man.
Yeah.
Where Stein come from?
Yeah, that's where it came from.
That's what's up.
Hoes used to call me Stein, too. I had to line that shit right up. And my name's Stein. But actually, true story, I used to be called Pasuan. P-S-U-A-N. That was the nickname I got at Nordstrom because I was running through so many women. So the other cashier that my boy was hitting, she said, "You think you suave, huh? I'm gonna start calling you Pasuan, Patrick the suave ass nigga." Yeah. So that's it. But I like Stein better.
Yeah.
So third place for the St. Ives commercial.
Yeah.
And then once you say, okay, I know I got it because I didn't come in first, but I came in the top 3.
Yeah.
So
top
then
3.
once you got that movement going, what did you do next?
Continue to work for that. Continue to produce for the kids group. Going through all their talent shows and all that, and then trying to put my own project together to shop. Just everything was on a cassette tape. And then it got to the point where it just kind of fell stagnant. Like we can only do so many talent shows, and we kind of changed our image and kind of was trying to. I had a song. We went from this land is your black and we had a song called Black in America, not Black in America.
That's
Built by a black man.
Shout out to Morgan Mall.
Built by a black man. That was the name of the song. We had a vocalist on it. We went from that to a song called Nigga Nigga This Nigga That. Right?
Damn.
Nigga nigga this nigga that. You come dumb and you wind up on your back, fool. It was. Well,
So
we
y'all
went-
Definitely
went.
sound West Coast.
Right. So we were trying to compete with that. Didn't work too well. We got booed off stage one time because we on that pro-black shit. They didn't want to hear that. So we switched to that, and then niggas started really fucking with me. So I did music for a group called OFTB, Operation from the Bottom. They had just gotten signed to Death Row. True story, Dre. I hope you see this with your bitch ass. Dr. Dre stole a beat from me. Because when I knew what I was doing, everything was a break beat. Back then, everything was a break beat.
Yeah.
A break drum beat, which is a jazz loop. So the song is called, let me hum it for you so you can see if you remember. Do-do-do, do-do-do. It's just 187 on the undercover cop.
Okay.
Yeah, that deep cover
Yeah,
song.
deep cover, yeah.
I ended up taking the cassette tape. My homeboy Daz was, he wasn't my homeboy. The girl upstairs in Brass Plum, that was a cheaper version of, I used to work in salon shoes. Brass Plum was upstairs for the young girls. She was like, she knew I did music. She's like, my boyfriend is Daz. I'm going to take you to the studio with me. I'm like, you
Dog
lying.
Pound?
Daz.
Okay.
So she took me to the studio the week later. Nigga, Daz and Corrupt were in there. They did produce that whole album. I don't know if y'all know that. Yeah, they did all the groundwork for the album. Dre, but it's Dr. Dre. They were in-house producers. So they was only getting like $800 a week. So Daz kind of liked a couple of my beats. He said, yo, man, leave a tape. Dre coming up here, and we want to let him hear it. Of course I'm going to leave the fucking tape. Dr. Dre coming up here? Dr. Dre finally got there. He came in the room, and he was trying to listen to the Chronic. This was when he was on the Chronic. He was trying to listen to what they had done. He played them two of my beats. Dre didn't bat an eye. He didn't bob his head or nothing, right? So what he said to me was, leave the tape. And, after this, I'll listen to it. Of course I left the tape. It's Dr. Dre. I left that fucking tape, man. And not too long after that, when the Chronic came out, the song actually came out before the Chronic came out. I said, this motherfucker stole my beat. And that happens a lot. Ludacris, you did it too, to another group. But that I was working with in College Park. He took the fucking hook. That really crushed me. So after that, I remember one time I was at Nordstrom, was at work, and I was cool with this dude named Stacy. Stacy had did something weird and ended up he witnessed a murder in LA, and he was on the sales floor, and he knew I did music and shit, but he was on the sales floor. He was like, hey, man, let me hear some of your music and shit. So we went in the back and let him hear some music. We come back out, and one time was running through the mall, running it through Nordstrom. They had, SWAT, everything. Come to find out, them niggas that came up there, and I'm on the floor, I'm standing next to this dude. They came up there, these Bloods, to kill him in Nordstrom. But somebody knew what it was, so they kept Tracy, not Stacy. They kept Tracy in the back, transferred him out. And after that, I said, it's time for me to go. Because what happened was, 2 weeks later, my daughter, I don't even know my daughter's name is Lance, my middle child.
Okay.
Lance was one of my best friends. He used to rap too. 2 weeks later, we had left the Lamo Mall and we went because we were still doing our music, right? Lance was called the Slim Wonder Man, right? He ended up sitting in the car. I had just dropped him off. It was my birthday. I had rented a car, just dropped him off, and went home or something. And then like an hour later, I got a phone call from Lance's aunt. She says, Stein, you need to come over. You need to come over. I'm like, what the fuck going on? She says, Lance, I just dropped the nigga off. Somebody walked up to the window and shot him in the car while he was in the car with the girl because the aunt didn't want the girl to go inside. She was like, you ain't no bitches in my house. So Lance was in the car. They mistook Lance for someone else.
Wow.
When they killed Lance in Torrance, California, I told Ruck, my cousin, I said, bro, we got to go. And Brandy at that time was pregnant. She had already had my daughter, Aubrey. That's another whole story. Anyway, so Brandy was like, I'm coming with you. I'm like, I don't really want you to come. I'm trying to get on some new hoes, right, in Atlanta. But we ended up coming. She came with me, and we built a life here. But I ended up leaving L.A., man, and it's bittersweet, right, because when Lance got killed, he was my best friend. When my daughter was born, I told Brandy, I said, the next kid we have, we're going to name him Lance, boy or girl. She fought me on it a little bit, but she knew how much Lance meant to me, which is why my daughter's name is Lance, because my best friend was killed.
That's real.
That's what's up. So you came out here to Atlanta. So when you got out here, how you maneuvered the music scene in Atlanta when you first got here?
It was crazy, man, because it kind of like did it itself. So we bought a HUD home out in College Park, 2365 Beethoven Circle, right? It's funny, I lived on the street with composers, but that was where the address was. And we had a foyer home. You know, you walk in, you go down the step. That's the rooms down there. Then you go up.
So bi-level.
Yeah, they call it split foyer. Yeah, the foyer when you land, but you go down the steps. So I ended up building a studio. I had a little Tascam mixer, and I ended up building a studio because what happened was Brandy's grandmother, when we came out here and we left L.A., she gave us $22,000, right? And we put a lot of it in the bank, but the only way we were able to do it is because Brandy's grandmother had connections with a lady who worked at Bank of America. But back then it was called Nations Bank. Remember that?
Nations Bank.
Yeah. So I ended up taking some of that money and she bought me a drum machine. But it wasn't dope like that. So what I ended up doing, I opened a credit card. Because at this time, I was 23 when Lance was born. I'm 24 years old. I'm living in Atlanta. We got the fuck up out of there when Lance got killed. I got a credit card to Mars Music, right?
Yeah.
Now it was called Guitar Center. It was called Mars Music. But
No,
now,
I remember Mars Music.
Yeah.
But Guitar Center was out then. Mars Music just shut down completely.
Well, that's where I went. I went to Mars Music, got a financing. It wasn't a credit card, it was financing. So I got an MPC 3000. It was nice. It was a nice one. And
What'd you do with it?
man, I ended up selling it. I left music alone. This long story about that. But I financed it, and I didn't pay for it. Like, I let it go bad on my credit. Fuck it, I ain't pay for that shit. I just let it go bad. You know, I had terrible credit. But that's when I started really, like, I can hit them drums hitting harder, and I already had a little Kawai keyboard that I brought out here. I built the studio, and I don't know how, bro, it's like a blur. Like, I don't know who I met that knew that person. I ended up blowing up. Like, I was a ghetto celebrity. I worked with Outkast. I worked with Mr. DJ. I worked with Bobby Valentino. I worked with Ludacris. Now, mind you, I'm just an engineer. These motherfuckers don't know me like that. I worked with Titty Boy, who is now 2 Chainz. I mixed Ludacris' whole first album. It was called Incognito. Then he went back when he got signed and called it back for the first time. I was working with everybody, bro, and I was married at the time, so that's when the music took off. Like, I can't tell you who started it, but man, that's another whole podcast segment about this music shit.
Hold on. So you worked on What's Your Fantasy and all that?
I mixed all of that
okay.
shit.
Wow.
I only got credit. Now, granted, What's Your Fantasy, Chandre, he was Chandre then, now he's Bangladesh. That was an intro. That wasn't supposed to be a whole song. It was a 30-second intro for Ludacris. I mixed all of that shit. Problem was, when people get signed, they change. They turn into somebody else. Because now, they're signed, because he would always ask me how, you know, I used to have Benzes all outside my house. People thought I was selling drugs, but these were just acts and artists. He would always ask me, how do you, what are you doing? How do you have all this shit in here and you got all these different people? So I mixed his album, and only one song made it on the album when he did Back for the first time. It's a song called First and 10. If you look at that album, Sound Asylum Recording Studios is on that, right? But Western Fantasy was the takeoff hit because once they got in the door, I think Brad Scarface, and what's the guy named that manages Chris?
Shaka Zulu.
Him. He thought that was a great intro and Ludacris should make it a song. So they ended up making that a song. But I was working with everybody, bro. It would be so many people in my studio. I didn't even know half of them because they would bring people with them.
Yeah.
So as I would go out with Brandy, people were like, Stein. And she's like, how the fuck do you know all these people? I don't know these motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? They know me because they was in the studio. And I'm a lot like you. I'm creative. So whatever space I have, it was dope. But we can talk, man, that music. That's another podcast, man.
So man, you got a nice resume, man.
Man.
And what record you worked on with Outkast?
Outkast, well, I work with their DJ and I work with Big Boy.
Okay.
And what they used the studio, I actually didn't work. Mr. DJ was their DJ.
Yeah.
He did everything. They just wanted my space.
Gotcha.
Right. Now, Bobby Valentino has been in my studio. Pink been in my studio with a group called 3L something. She was in a girls group at first.
Mm-hmm.
She's been there. Cool Ace has been there. Titty Boy, 2 Chainz been there. Players Circle has been there. So I was engineering for everybody, bro. A group called Zone 3, who Ludacris stole the hook for. You ever heard of a song called Move, Bitch, Get Out the Way, Get Out? Okay, the original hook was Move, Bitch, Get Out the Way, Ho, Get Out the Way, Ho, Get Out the Way, Ho, just move, bitch. That was a group called Zone 3. Ludacris was in my studio while they were singing the hook in the booth because he had a session right after he stole the hook from Zone 3. Straight up. He stole that hook from them boys, man. And them boys was trying to get a deal so bad, he had to connect, but he liked the hook and he stole it and modified it. Real shit.
Ooh.
Damn.
That's the game for you.
Yeah, dirty.
That's
Dirty.
the game for you. You second person that brought up Mr. DJ. We had somebody on last night that said
He was cool down there. Yeah, he's ridiculous. So
dope.
he just used the space.
Yeah.
The nigga was so kind of on himself, he would pull up in my driveway with his car parked cat a corner. He had a blue Benz. Nigga was crazy. But anyway. Cat a corner. Like nobody else could park next to his car. Whatever. I didn't care.
So as you made your name out here in Atlanta as the engineer to go to.
Yeah.
So then you always had a studio. So as you seen artists come and go, and as you seen artists come and go, you got your own platform, Skinny Bones. Not Skinny Bones, but the Skinny.
Oh, now current day.
Yeah.
Because back then that was Sound Asylum Recording Studios. Now it's Skin and Bones. And I got the name Skin and Bones because my grandmother always say before she died, Laureen Perkins, rest in peace. She said, boy, you ain't nothing but skin and bones. Because I was skinny as fuck. So I ran with it.
That's dope.
Okay. With that.
That's dope.
And she said, you're skinny. She was like, you skinny as a rail. You ain't nothing but skin and bones. So I kept that.
Okay, so you changed your name of your studio to Skin and Bones.
Skin and Bones.
Okay.
Project Studio, yeah.
So as
because my wife told me to say this. My wife, Phoenix, how you doing? I love you. She told me to make sure it's Skin and Bones Project Studios because not only do I do music, you can do video shoots there. It can be band rehearsal. You can do all these different things. Photo. Maddie's been there several times.
Comedy shows.
Comedy shows. You can do all shit. So Phoenix, my wife, I made sure I said it, goddamn, because I got twin and Chevy here. Yes, she wanted me to
Shout
tell
out
you.
Phoenix.
Yeah, she wanted me to tell you why studios, why it's Skin and Bone Project Studios. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, that's dope. Phoenix, I don't want you whooping me, so I apologize.
Yeah.
But as I've been to your studio, like I said, super dope.
Appreciate
it's a real vibe. It's a real dope vibe there, and even I sat on your show.
Absolutely,
I sat on your show. I've been on your show.
Yes.
He got me and Chev on there and talk crazy to us the whole time.
I learned a lot from y'all though.
You got to be on your A game when you go sit over there.
Yeah.
Make sure I got a full night rest. Drink my
Yeah,
water, stay
I was wearing
hydrated.
their ass out.
Pause, but he definitely.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, I forgot. That came out wrong.
Nah, it's all good. We're gonna catch you.
So as the show, the Skinny, as you interview artists and then also you allow them to do a performance of one of their tracks, how did you come up with that idea?
Man, I know y'all can appreciate this. BET. You know what I'm saying? 106 in Park, Rap City. Excuse me. That's kind of what they did. If they didn't perform, it would be a video at least. So Arsenio Hall, he would have guests on the show, and then they would perform. So to me, it was like I took pieces of inspiration from that and started the Skinny. And I wanted to have a red couch because 106 in Park had a red couch. And I wanted to have that be the staple to get on the red couch. So that's kind of how that, because COVID hit, everybody was doing podcasts or the verses and all that. So I didn't know shit about podcasts. And I bought, like you did, I bought 2 cameras, set them up, and I couldn't get the lighting right. So I ended up going to 1 camera. And then I started catching my stride when I started interviewing. And unlike you guys, very professional, I didn't write shit down. I was just, you sit on the couch, it's the Wild Wild West. You know what I mean? I ain't had no structure to that shit or whatever, But that's that with the Skinny, yeah.
Okay. So, how did you pick your artists on the Skinny?
Man, I just went through Instagram and sent them the little template I made, and because the shit was free, everybody wanted to be on it. They was like, this shit is so dope, right? So they'll come in and be like, this is dope. If you say you can record here for free, everybody would be in here. This shit is dope, right? Same thing with the Skinny. People see the colors, they see all that shit on Instagram, and like, free? Let's go. So it was easy to get access, especially when you're first doing it. The rule of thumb is the first year should be pro bono. Like, I feel like what you guys have here is very professional. This is dope, very solid. Like I told you this, I feel like at some point you're going to have to start charging people because the quality is there. The investment you guys have made, in this, I know you're very tech savvy and his business savvy, you're going to have to start charging for this, right? So the first year was free. So it's easy to get people. Think about it. Then the next year, I kind of straddled the line of should I charge, should I not? What is it really worth? Who would pay? And artists are broke, first and foremost. But you look at them on Instagram, you think they rich, they balling, they broke. So hundreds, mind you, we got 300 episodes, and only maybe 100 and something are actually on YouTube. It was just too much for me. I couldn't do all that editing, bro. And because they didn't pay, I didn't give a fuck. You didn't pay, so don't call me and say when my episode dropping. So true shit. You didn't pay me shit. It was free, nigga. So, yeah.
Maybe that's the incentive. You're like, hey, if you pay for it, then I go ahead.
You pay for it, yeah.
Upload it.
Man, you can attest to this. Maddie definitely can. 1 45-minute session, that's like 3.5 hours, 4 hours editing.
Yes.
You trying to line shit up, make sure, man, the shit was free. I didn't do it.
And you definitely made your stuff was crispy clean.
Thanks.
I mean, the audio was amazing. The performance, this man had a smoke machine. He had smoke coming up behind the artist.
Come out your ass, too.
So,
come right out your ass.
Yeah. So, I definitely appreciated the work you put into it. Your interviews, then the performance, and then after, like you said, you got to piece everything back together. Man. So I know it's it can be time consuming.
Yeah.
And then I feel you. Some folks didn't appreciate it until you gone. Then when they like, man, that was a dope interview. I can't find nothing else like that no more.
Y'all got one, but I'm just saying, even before y'all started, some of that trash out there, they were paying for that, like On the Radar and the debut. Niggas pay to get on that shit, and it's not that awesome.
Off the porch, they definitely gonna pay.
Yeah, off the porch, you gonna pay for that.
Yes, sir. Shout out to Spitty.
Yeah, you gonna pay for that, but that's some next level shit, right? But yeah, that's it.
Yep.
Yeah. Did you build it yourself? The studio?
Yeah, it was a garage.
Yeah.
We bought the house. I asked my wife, could I have it? And we would just park the cars on the street. And we thought about it, and she was like, yeah, go ahead. So she gave me the garage, and I just went to work, man, kind of like you. I just looked at the space that I had, and I wasn't able to, I don't do blueprints and shit, so I just kind of looked at the room and just started adding shit.
My blueprint was a piece of paper and an ink pen.
I didn't have it. Because my mind doesn't work like that. I can look at the space and understand where I want shit, but I couldn't write it down for you to understand it.
No, well, I had the reason I wrote mine down, I drew it out because I was like, okay, when I had it drawn out, I said, okay, this is going to be this, this is going to be this, this is going to be this. Because I was overseas when I bought this house.
Oh, shit.
And I needed it. I told the realtor, go get me a. I said, take pictures of the basement. She taking pictures of upstairs and stuff. She sent it to me.
Because this is your case.
And this is what I said. I said, where is the basement? She said, it's unfinished. I said, I know. I said, that's why I bought a house. I said, I got to see what I got to work with. So she sent me a video. And she said, man, when I said that, I said at my desk, I'm going through the video. So as I was looking, I just started drawing it out.
Okay.
So then when I got here, I already knew where to begin.
Oh, the space. Look, listen, I know they gave me some props, man. What I love and appreciate about this space is you have some compartments that specifically like this. We're sitting in the control room, but right over there is a production area. Right out here is a reception area where it's doper than most big name studios I've been in. You got a pool table, you got great ambience, you got couches, and it's very clean, guys. He's got another room, another compartment. This shit like fucking Lego blocks. He got another room with a bunch of snacks, and he got a dope ass bathroom where it has a doo-doo bay, a duvet, or whatever that shit is. And spray water in your ass when you shit. That's what it's called, right? A debate or a dab? What do you call that shit? Bidet. And I was like, I ain't finna water shooting up in my ass. I don't know if I can get there yet. But, Maddie, you say it's what?
I got the VIP. I used to VIP upstairs.
Okay.
It's for the guests, for y'all.
Yeah. I don't want water shooting in my ass.
It's in all the bathrooms in the house.
Okay, and you like it.
Who?
You like the bidet.
Man, I ain't gonna even get on the camera. It's not that I don't like it. I was in the Middle East. So I worked in the Middle East for 2 years.
Okay.
So that's what you either gonna find that or you gonna be on the squatter. They ain't had the toilets. Yeah. We got toilets that we sit down.
Yeah.
They got this thing, this porcelain thing that come down. Then you see like, okay, what is that?
Two footprint things right here.
Yeah.
And
you like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Go ahead and start doing your exercises.
Yeah.
I mean, the first time, I'm like, what is this? I said, man, where the bathroom at? He said, there's a bathroom. Then I'm like, he said
you should have been used to it though, cause they had that in Iraq.
But in Iraq, we had the wudger They had them trailers.
Oh yeah, true. I'm talking about even when you go talk to the dignitaries off base. Y'all ain't never.
When I went out there, we was snatching and grabbing.
Okay, same here, but every now and then we had to be like, oh, let me use the restroom. Go in there, see that hole in the ground. Like, man, I might well just stay outside.
Yeah. That's what I did because it's just like sometimes
I went in one talking about shit.
Yes, we are.
Okay. I thought we were talking about music.
It's a natural thing, you know. We talk about a lot more stuff on your
bro, it was crazy over there.
Yeah, just give me a hard time.
Look, when I said, where the bathroom at? That dude said, you looking for a American toilet? I said, yeah. He said, we ain't got none. I said, oh, man. I was in that thing hurting.
I would appreciate when you go over there and you come back, you appreciate America a little bit more. I'll tell you that much.
You definitely will. Yeah. Especially in that one. And if your legs ain't strong. But then the Army made your legs strong because, we was out in the woods and you had no what you call it.
Yeah.
I took it in my Reeboks, cut a hole in it, put a trap in.
I get it.
Gotta do what you gotta do.
But yeah, man, it's as I know you I know a lot of stuff you did. And I know you giving us the rough and tough version, but the music stuff, you shot some things, and I feel like you're not giving yourself the credit that you deserve when it comes to the things that you have done for folks and the things that you have contributed to this music industry. So why you hiding it?
Man, listen, I don't know, man. I got this love-hate relationship with music, and my wife always says, like, I don't know how to take somebody saying, oh, this was dope, or I have a hard time with it, man, because I always feel like, and I know you can attest to this, you always feel like you're missing something, like you want to do better. So if I'm understanding what you're asking me, you're saying, share some of my accolades and shit like that?
Like always. Because the thing is, what's that one artist you had on the skinny Afro?
Aphrodite.
Yeah. She's cold.
Okay, so
and look, what she say? I can tell you what she said. The hit that I made was produced by Stein.
Yeah, it was a song called "Dirty Dancing," and back then DreamWorks had just started their record label, and I did 3 songs for her: "Dirty Dancing," "Ecstasy," and something else. Make a long story short, she had a manager named Gil. He sent it to Sony or wherever it was. But anyway, DreamWorks called my house because Gil had gave him all the information. I answered the phone. I'm like, who is this? Well, this is, it wasn't AR at the time. It was something else. We really like what you've done with, Aphrodite, because that's what she went by. If we send you a demo budget, can you produce more songs like this? I said, sure. So they sent me $6,000, right? And what fucked us up, see, Afro could have had a deal with DreamWorks. She brought in another producer named Tariq. He was real hip hop. Afro was very hip hop.
Yeah.
So that was right up her alley. I was more West Coast, and this is what the fucking song gonna sound like, and it was my sound, but it was dope enough for them to call me. She put Tariq on that project. Gil said, nah, I don't think this is a good fit. Afro was headstrong about doing it and put the shit together, sent it to him, and they said, no, we're gonna decline. So that was one.
Wow.
Then I was with another record, back then, independent record labels were the thing. So there's a guy, we called a nigga Spoons. You ever seen niggas with their fingernails look like the back of teaspoons and shit? So we used to call the nigga Spoons. But never forget that. You know what I'm talking about, right?
I definitely do.
So I met this nigga through a guy named Killer Groove, who had a R&B group he was working with. So he came to my studio, was the home studio. He says, yeah, Bernard, that's his name, Bernard Heflin. Bernard has a group, and he wants to come meet you to see what we can do to, help produce the group. So Bernard comes over, and he was in love with the studio. Because it was, back then, it was no studio like my studio in College Park. It was ADATs. Remember what ADATs?
Yeah.
The big 8
Yeah, I
track.
know.
I had 5 of them. That was 40 tracks. And I had them in a nice rack and all that shit. I never forget this. He came and sat down in the studio because I had like really nice white, they were cheap, but they were nice white leather pleather couches or whatever it was. He said, how much would it cost for you to produce my group, and can you bring other groups to the table? I said, I don't know, man. Let me think about it. So when he left, me and Killer started talking. I said, how much you think we can get this nigga for, man? I mean, this shit gonna be easy. Killer was like, well, $30,000. I'm like, nigga ain't give us no $30,000. You crazy as fuck. For one group and some potential groups that I can bring on, I'm not lying. I don't know how Killer brokered that deal. 2 weeks later, this man comes. I had a camera. I had an Argosy desk. You know what Argosy is?
Yeah.
I had an Argosy desk with a little cheap camera that was connected to the front door. I saw him walk up the steps. I was like, is that Spoons? This nigga comes in. He has 2 envelopes, $15,000 in each envelope from Nations Bank. Now it's Bank of America. He gave Killer one and gave me one. And I went to work, bro. I was like, this nigga for real, for real. So I brought in this girl named Crystal. I brought in a guy named Black Diamond. Twin, I can't even tell you like how some of this shit materialized. It was almost like a running faucet. It was happening so fast. Like everybody was in my studio, and I was the guy that. It was crazy, and ended up coming up with a group called SBG: Stein, Black Diamond, and Groove. What's ironic is Spoons had a daughter named Giovanni and a son named. So it was Giovanni, SBG, but his kids. He was. God damn it, SBG stand for Sebastian, Giovanni, and something else. But it was his group. It was his kid's name. So that's where SBG started. But after that, man, it was just flowing. I was just that guy. I was producing. I had the dopest studio out there. I was fucking a lot of women, too. Ooh, and I was married, too. They were coming through that studio like a motherfucker.
Allegedly.
Yeah, that. Man, shit, I had this chick that we used to work at Nicky's. You ever heard of Club Nicky's?
Yeah, I heard about it
I ain't
back in
gonna
the
go
day.
into it. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it alone.
We'll say that for the skinny.
You would say that for the X-rated version. But anyway, music. Back to music.
So yeah, that's super dope. So let me ask you this here. All the stuff that you've been through, the stuff you experienced, what would you tell this younger generation about how
Music or life?
music? Because your life also shaped you.
Yeah. I would say, be confident, but have a little bit of humility, and be true to the shit. Like, don't do the music for likes and follows. Do the music because you genuinely love it. Like, it's art. Like, people are scared to collaborate nowadays, unless they can get some out of it immediately. It's stay with it and do it because you genuinely love to do it. Even if your focus shouldn't be getting a record deal, or your focus shouldn't be getting 20,000 people to hit the thumbs up. Do the shit because you're creative. Do it because you genuinely enjoy doing it. I think it feels better. I think it's going to resonate better with people. They can hear it in the music when you're doing it because it may sound completely different from what's out there now, but that's what trend setting is, right?
Yeah.
That's what I would tell them, you know.
And as when you tell them that, when folks, so as you've been through some decades,
Yeah.
some of music, creating, watching, whole 9 yards. So, what legacy would you like to leave?
Leave
Yes, in this music industry.
from what I did.
Yeah.
Um,
And what you still gonna do. So it ain't just what you did. You
You
still
ain't-
doing
you
it.
ain't
You
doing
ain't
yeah,
over.
I'd like to leave just that. Well, I would like to leave the aspect of quality, like invest in yourself. Stop trying to get studio time for $25 an hour. I mean, when you look at the amount of quality equipment in this room that I'm in, it's worth more than $25 an hour, and you're going to get a solid engineer, probably one of the best in the game. You trust his ears, you're going to get a better product. Same thing with me. I'm an artist, but I'm also a producer, and I'm also an engineer. So I appreciate the quality piece. So what I would leave with the legacy would be, I lead with quality, even if that means I get less customers, right? I'm okay with getting less people because I charge 75 an hour, right? But at least I know when I'm in there, I'm getting paid what I'm worth.
Yes.
Every now and then it's okay to run a sale. Hey, I'm doing a 4-hour block for 150 or whatever, just to kind of give back, but lead with quality. That's what I would tell them. Don't hurry up and do some stuff on your phone and give it to Chevy, and Chevy's like, well, you ain't even take time to get this shit mixed properly. That.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel you on
Quality,
that one.
quality lasts longer.
Yeah,
It definitely
it's timeless.
Time, yeah.
Like this, for example. Did I mention who did this? Mastering Belief. This is Maddie B. And I've had this over a year now. It hasn't broken. It's solid. I get a lot of compliments on it, and it's awesome. It's hematite, if I said that right.
I don't know what this is.
Maddie, what is it?
I
I said it right. Okay. But yeah, go ahead.
was gonna,
That's it, right?
I was gonna ask him about the Fit Club and
Fight Club. Yeah,
and
yeah.
and the
Electric
unicycle.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't smoke and drink.
Okay.
So I have to have things to do that stimulate me, and teaching boxing does. I'm a much better teacher of boxing than I am a boxer, right? People always, when I teach people to box and then I spar with them a little bit, they spend so much time trying to hurt me. And I'm thinking, and I tell them, I said, you do realize Mike Tyson was trained by Customato. Customato can't whoop Mike Tyson in a fight. What he can do is teach him how to be better. You name any boxer, they could probably beat the shit out of their trainer. But it's not about that. So I do struggle when these people try to hurt me. Now, I'm nice with these motherfuckers, too. I show them, they be like, damn, I'm kind of nice. You know what I mean? Old nigga got grown man strength, right?
Got the hand.
Yeah, grown man strength. Actually, I work with Maddie. Am I decent?
Okay.
Yeah, so...
Yes.
But I do that because it makes me move too. We black men, we got to make sure we stay mobile.
Yes.
For heart reason. Hypertension runs rampant in black men. Cancer, colon cancer, and all that other shit. So I try to stay active. But that electric unicycle is truly my passion. I can get on that thing, and it's just a one-wheel, mobile, whatever you call it, I won't say scooter. It's certainly not a toy.
Right.
But it gives me a piece that I can get away. It's solo, right? I ain't got nobody riding with me, so I can just get on it, put my music on, and just go, man. 35, 40 miles an hour riding that, it's a different kind of space, man.
So how fast did it go?
The one I have now goes 55. I don't go 55. Around 37, 38 miles an hour, I start getting a little scared, like, you hit a rock, and I'm done. Like, my wrist is broken in 3 places.
I was going to ask you
now.
that. You had any natural spills?
Yeah, man. My shoulder got fucked up. My wrist still... 2 years ago, I ran into a kid ran into me, and he popped right up like nothing was wrong, but I was moving him as I was breaking my fall and broke my wrist in 3 places. Yeah. So I just thought it was sprained. Turns out, went to see the hand specialist. Yeah. And he said, you have one of the worst injuries I've seen. And I've seen professional athletes. This shit was broken. It's a lot of bones right here. Yeah. A lot of bones. He said, you got a sports injury that's pretty rough. We can fix it for $11,000, but you may only have 25 to 50% with articulation. So my hand would be stuck like this. I got 75% articulation. Now I can't bend it back like that, right? Because it's created some arthritis. So when I teach boxing, I put a splint on, then I wrap it, so it never bends back. Those are my. I'm glad you asked me about the unicycle, man. That's my passion, man.
Because I've definitely looked into it, then I looked away because I was like, man, I ain't getting on that.
Yeah,
but
man.
it looks fun.
Oh,
man.
it's just. I saw a white kid riding, and I didn't know what it was at the time. I was like, what the fuck is he on? He was moving. Back then, they didn't go 50. They only went like 25 miles an hour. But it was intriguing to me because I just had a little two-wheel scooter that only go like 8 miles an hour. I saw that shit. I'm like, what is it? So I immediately went online, Amazon. Yeah. They had one. It was called the electric unicycle. It was a 14-inch. I bought it. Didn't know how to ride it.
You don't mind me asking how much are they?
Now?
Yeah.
The one I have now is $5,000. So, but if you think about it, it's a car. It's pretty much a fucking car. Yeah. So you charge that motherfucker and take the supercharger with you. You can go anywhere. Like I ride from my house to Perimeter Mall, and then I ride back. Then I'll go from my house to Lenox Mall. Yeah, you get, depending on how fast you go, man, you get about 40 miles out of one charge.
On the sidewalk or in the street?
In both.
Yeah, they
you just zoom.
Like, yeah, if the traffic is bad, just hop on the sidewalk. Yeah. But you know, you have to map it out. When you get your Google thing, it'll say car, walk, or bike. So I always pick bike. And it'll give me the path that I can take on a bike.
Okay.
So it's usually further away. So I'll do about 45 miles on it, right? Everything hurts. Your legs are hurting, your hamstrings, your goddamn, because you're standing up.
Yeah.
The one I have now, you can sit on it. So when I get tired, I just sit down on it, and you know, you just ride it, and it's a great thing. I wish more people would try it and fall in love with it like I did, because it's great to do a group ride. Like, Chevy, where you at, man? Let's do 30 miles. You know, we can stop, eat. The thing I love about them, unlike a scooter, where you gonna park it? You can't take it in Publix. You can't take it in a restaurant. My shit, you pull the handlebar up, ride it right. I shop with it in Publix. I just put the food on the pedals.
I was gonna ask you that how you.
I go in Publix. I can go in any store. I just, you know, if I'm shopping, I just put the food on the pedals and on the top, and people be looking at me like, oh, that's pretty creative. You know what I'm saying?
It got compartments in it where you can put stuff.
Nah, when the pedals come out like this, they're pretty wide, so you can put food on it.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah, that's
you ain't gonna do it.
I know.
Yeah. I'm a daredevil, but I might. I won't say that I
skateboard.
won't ever try it, but I'm definitely look into it.
Well, if you try it, you have to commit to trying it.
I know,
because it's extremely hard to do. You think about it; it doesn't balance laterally. It'll balance back and forth. Because once you turn it on, it'll calibrate. So the only way to get it to move is you have to lean forward.
Oh, so it's like a Segway.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then when you lean back, it stops. But this way, that's all you. Articulation, fast twitch muscles are activated. Yeah. You know, so
your body adjusts to it.
Yeah, you should. Once you get used to it, it feels like you're part of the machine. Once you get over the fear, I always get scared now because my wrist is broken. But before that, I would just ride and never have to look down and see the speedometer. I would just ride. But now I look down sometimes. Oh shit, I'm going 40. Let me stop. Let me slow this motherfucker down.
All right, man. Especially this Atlanta traffic.
Yeah, it's terrible.
So, man, you know, it's definitely a pleasure having you here.
Yeah, I'm glad I was here, man.
On Tailor's Talk podcast.
Tailor's Talk.
But let me hit you
with Twin and Chevy.
But let me hit you with looking at camera and tell these folks where they can find you at.
Oh, hey, you can find me at SKNB Studios on Instagram. You can also find me at The Skinny Show ATL on Instagram. And you can find me butt naked with somebody in I'm fucking with you. Butt naked in the bathtub with your daughter.
Ladies and gentlemen.
She got to be of age, though. Grown woman.
Yeah.
Now, you say where they can find me.
And what last time?
I said social media.
Oh, yeah, social media. Right.
OnlyFans? No, that ain't good. Okay.
What you got coming up next?
Bro, you know what? You want a true answer, man? I'm tired. Like, I think the next thing I got coming up is I'm going with my wife, 10-year anniversary with my wife. Nice. We're going to see Bruno Mars in about a week and a half.
Vegas.
Then we're going to go, Vegas. Then we're going to leave there. We're going to go to L.A., to Universal Studios. And I'm just going to relax, man, and enjoy the rest of my life. You know what I'm saying? And I got more years behind me that are due in front of me. So I'm trying to live it good.
That's good.
Yeah.
I respect that, man.
Yeah.
I definitely respect that. And congratulations on
Appreciate
10
that.
years,
10
man.
years.
10
Yeah.
years.
10,
Congratulations.
10 good ones.
That's good.
She on my goddamn nerves, but then say, I don't want to be with nobody else. So I get on her nerves too.
Yes.
Yeah, I ain't mad at you.
Yeah. Can I take some of them nuts with me? No homo. You got a bunch of nuts out there. I can take them with me when I leave.
He wants some snacks that over there at the
told you,
little
this-
miniature snack bar.
This dope
He
studio
said-
that I'm in.
Did he say? But hey, y'all, thank y'all for tuning in to Tailor Talk Podcast.
Taylor's Talk Podcast, man.
And,
Give yourself a hand. This is dope.
Appreciate
But
it.
y'all make sure y'all subscribe, like, and share. We definitely appreciate every one of y'all. And see you next week.
Yep, YouTube, baby. We out of here for sure.